Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hope you all are fine with the grace of Almighty Allah. I'm Muhammad Khalid, and today we are covering week 3rd, lesson 5th, conflict between church and state. In this lesson, we'll cover the following points: history of conflict between church and the state, reasons of conflict development, and impact of conflict on the political system in Europe. The students, you are well aware that according to historical traces, the Greece and the Romans were the leading nations, civilizations, and countries which paved the way for the modern lifestyle for the Europe. Although Europe in the medieval ages was greatly impressed, and not just impressed, but Europeans inherited a huge amount of culture, knowledge, science, and technology from the Muslims. And because the Muslims had covered much of the European lands, for instance, half of the European countries were under the control of Ottoman Empire, whereas on the other end, till Rome and Italy, Muslims had their remnants. But despite all these reasons, the time of 11th century to 16th century is very significant in the European political history. In this era, the entire political thinking and practice was pivot to Aristotle's famous book, The Politics, some of the Roman laws invented, and the Bible. In the same era, the European states were schemed or divided into short and little states. The great Roman Empire and the empire of the Constantinople was destroyed by Sultan Muhammad Fateh. Well, the absence of the centralized government, the political thinking and practice was greatly controlled by the church, Roman establishment, and landlords. Fine. Right from 11th century, the Pope Boniface the 8th, 1303, church had upper hand over the Roman. But in 15th and 16th century, the papacy had to face a severe opposition from the national leaders and the political thinkers. मतलब ये है कि 14वीं और 15वीं सदी में पापायत को, पापा रोम और उसकी जो अथॉरिटी थी, उसको बहुत रेमिनेंट बादशाहों के और लीडर्स की मुखालफत का सामना करना पड़ा. Well, the very significant political theory was that in Middle Ages, political theory was joined by two concepts, that church and state are the two different aspects of one thing. उनके नज़दीक जो मजहबी हुकूमत, मज़हब और जो स्टेट है वो एक ही चीज़ है. क्लियर? और दोनों जो बादशाह होता है वो भी मजहबी काम कर रहा होता है, और जो पॉप होता है वो भी मजहबी काम कर रहा होता है। वहां पर दो स्लोगन आप सुनते हैं, एक है द डिवाइन राइट ऑफ किंग, द किंग इज प्रोजेक्शन ऑफ गॉड, कि भाई बादशाह जो है वो अल्लाह ताला का अक्स है। और जबकि दूसरी तरफ ये कहा जाता है कि जो पोप है उसको अल्लाह सुब्हाना व तआला की तरफ से तमाम रूहानियत जो है वो अता कर दी जाती है फ्रॉम द गॉड। Thereby these two entities would control the life of the people. Fine, and you will be amazed that at that time clergies and fathers and these people had more wealth than any other landlord. उनके पास किसी भी landlord से ज़्यादा wealth थी। Well, a little background that when a Roman Empire was came into being and Roman Empire adopted Christianity as their state religion, the Roman Emperor was the head of the state and head of the church. But as the time passed, church accumulated more and more power. A time came that Papae Rome, clear, the Rome, Papae Rome was more powerful than the Emperor of Rome. If the kings and queens and generals of the Rome would say anything against the church, they would banish him, expel him, excommunicate. इसका मतलब होता था कि वो उसे मजहब से बाहर निकाल लेते थे। Till 800 the relationship and the authority between king and the pope was not clear. Clear? So this one was really different. Why? Because king would claim that he is the head of the state and all the authority is with him, he is the sovereign. Whereas church would claim that church foundation has been uh, made by the God himself, thereby Pope is the representative of God and he is the true guide. To them, God has given two swords. उनके नज़दीक खुदा ने उनका जो पीटर एक नबी है उसको दो तलवारें दी थी, एक पॉप को दी और एक बादशाह को दी। तो बादशाह जो है वो दुनियावी मामलात में बादशाह और दीनी मामलात में पॉप जो है वो इसको इख्तियार करता है। Well, in Middle Ages, the feudal system was a greatest resistance for a strong Roman Empire, whereas papayat or जिसे the clergism they emerged more and they became more powerful. In 800, the most among the most powerful Roman emperors, Charlemagne was announced by Pope Leo XI. This situation was very interesting that Pope decided to accumulate more power than the Emperor of the Rome. Thereby, in 11th century, Pope Gregory the Seventh established some modifications to uh, to possess more powers. Number one, रहबानियत के साबका जज्बे को बहाल करना, that to introduce the previous thoughts of the clergism, to uh, abolish the clerical marriages, जो पादरियों के दरमियान में शादियां होती थी उनको ख़त्म करना, and to stop the purchasing and selling of church offices, के जो चर्च के ऑफिसेस होते थे ना, जैसे पोप होता है उसके नीचे कार्डिनल्स होते हैं और फिर ये होते हैं, तो वो दरमियान में जो है वो उसकी खरीदो फरोख्त होती थी। बट another this decree by the Pope became a bone of contention between him and the Emperor Henry IV. Henry IV uh, expelled uh, Gregory from the Popism, whereas in response, Pope Gregory excommunicated Henry IV from the church. कि हेनरी चहारम ने 1076 में पोप पोप हेनरी ने पोप ग्रेगरी को चर्च से निकाल दिया, उसको अपना रहनुमा मानने से इनकार कर दिया, जबकि पोप ग्रेगरी ने हेनरी चहारम को एक्सकम्युनिकेट कर दिया। मतलब यह है कि उसे कलीसिया से बाहर जो है वो उसे नसरानियत से बाहर निकाल दिया, और उसका नसर ये रहा कि द पब्लिक, बिकॉज दैट वाज क्रिश्चियन, दे टर्न अगेंस्ट द किंग। But again, the Henry the Fourth befriended with the Pope, and resultantly, the the clergy, Pope, Kanisa, इनको करूने वस्ता की पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में अथॉरिटी होगी जब शहनशाह ने पोप के सामने सर जो है वो खम कर दिया। Whereas in 13th century, Pope Innocent III, papayat remained the most powerful than the kingship. But the worldly lord kings remain against the Pope. In 14th century, the king were able to retake their authority. Pope Boniface the Eighth remained the Pope from 1294 to 303. Okay, and he king uh, appointed king imposed a tax on these clergies because they were so powerful. In this way, they start fighting against this. But on this very point, England King Edward the First was with the King of France. Right in 1304, Philip's army arrested him, and later on the Pope passed away. But in 1309, the Pope in Constantine Petrarch pulled out the kingship from the church. There was really a issue. Finally, in 1517, a German professor, Martin Luther, in German city of Wittenberg, wrote some worst comments against the king, against the Pope, and then reformation of the church started, and it was the start of the Protestant church. Clear? And there are other incidents that when one of the King of England wanted to marry with some of the ladies, the Pope didn't allow, and they excommunicated, and then the King of England established their own country Britain. Well, rest after this incident, rest all the discussion remains to excommunicate, expel the church out of the life. And now into 20th century, they have said that there is no God, and religion is the personal matter of everyone. And you may be interestingly that the church property, which was really on world's most expensive areas, is being sold to the other people. Mostly the Muslims purchase church property and convert them into the mosques. Thank you very much.